Hi everyone, I'm Shelly and you're watching There's No Place Like Home. For this month's video, I just wanted to share with you a little bit about our homeschool morning routine. I'm always trying to come up with different ideas to do for my Patreon videos. And sometimes it's hard because I do such a wide variety of different topics on my channel that I don't really know how to make my videos stand out a little bit for Patreon. So if you ever have suggestions about things that you would like for me to talk about in my Patreon videos, please leave a comment here, or you can leave a comment on Patreon. But I thought that it would be useful, especially for those of you who are homeschooling parents, if I would just share with you a little bit about what our homeschool morning routine looks like. Because who doesn't look for different ideas every now and then, especially if you're looking to change things up or maybe bring some order into their homeschool that they might be lacking. So our homeschool morning routine is not something that is actually structured at all. We don't start our structured homeschool routine until around 12 o'clock every day. We wait until my husband leaves for work because there's no structured homeschooling that's going to get done if dad is home. So we wait until he leaves for work and we start in the afternoon. But I do like for them to have a little bit of their work done, get them rolling a little bit as I might be doing things, like straightening up, making breakfast, doing laundry. Sometimes even while I'm sleeping, they're still doing their homeschool morning routine. I don't have a specific time that they have to start their homeschool morning routine. I don't have an order that they have to get it done in. The only rule is that they have to have the homeschool morning routine, or we call it the morning basket. I think we still call it morning basket. Yeah, we do. We've been on break for 6 weeks, so can you tell? So anyway, so we still call it the morning basket, and they have to have it done by the time that we start school at 12 o'clock, hence the name, morning basket. And I always tell them it's not an afternoon basket or an evening basket, it's a morning basket. So here's what's inside our homeschool morning basket for my children to do during their morning routine. So the first thing that they usually do is spelling or vocabulary, depending on the age. Now for my younger children, they just do 3 times each. And I get their words out of Natural Speller. That's all that we do for spelling, though, is 3 times each. It is actually the most effective thing that I have used. I have tried different spelling curriculums. I have tried different methods. I've tried incorporating spelling curriculum that has them writing sentences and doing the definitions and the phonics. And what I really was just looking for, though, was something that would help them spell better. And what really helps them spell better is the repetition that they get with writing 3 times each. And they do that 4 times a week. There is one day that is a little bit different in the morning basket, and I'll get to that then. But before I actually go any further, I just wanted to add that all of the things that I put in our morning basket are things that my children will not need any help with, or will very seldom need help with. And the whole point of that is, again, to help them get the ball rolling, but it's also really nice for them to have some work that, for example, if I have to take a child to an appointment, or if there's something that I have to do that I won't be home, they can at least get some of their schoolwork done, and I will at least know that they have been doing something productive while I was gone. So anyway, so the younger kids do spelling. The older kids will do vocabulary, and I will get our vocabulary words from whatever unit study we're doing together in our family time. And that is actually what we start at 12 o'clock. We do most of our learning together, and we do read aloud, we do Bible together, we do unit study together, and then after that, they do their language arts and math separately, but sometimes with my help if they need it. But so the morning time is really the time when they are by themselves without help. So anyway, here's just an example of some of the vocabulary words. So we've been learning about the human body. So what I do for my high school age students is I give them a list of 8 words, and then they just have until Friday to define all 8 words. They don't have to do a certain number of words each day. I'm not picky about that at all, unless if Friday comes and I see that they haven't done it at all, which has happened, but then they were just like, okay, and then they just finished them all on Friday, which is good. If it became a habit though, where I was noticing maybe by Monday that the week before they hadn't done their work, that would be an issue. I'm here hacking up a storm in between takes because I'm just getting over being a little under the weather, and it never fails that if I'm not doing a video, I'm not coughing. But as soon as I start talking and doing the videos for you, I start hacking away. And this is what happened when I did the last video that I just posted. So bear with me. But anyway, here is where we get the vocabulary words from in our CONUS curriculum. That's just some examples. And you can see that I've drawn lines to divide up so that I know which ones I gave them and which ones I didn't. And again, this is what we use for our unit study. And so at this point for the morning basket, I only use it for the vocabulary. We will work on this unit study later on when we start, after 12 o'clock is when we do the rest of it. So for my children who need it, they have math drills in their morning basket also. So for my youngest, I have some addition and subtraction math drills in there. And then for some of my other children, I have multiplication and division drills, which, I was never really a big fan of drills. And, I used to call it drill and kill, which you definitely can drill and kill math. I would never recommend giving a child 50 long division problems to do in one day, because if there's one way to make your child hate math, that is it. But when it comes to very basic things like basic multiplication, basic division, your children need to know how to do those things. I know a lot of parents will say, well, it doesn't matter because that's what calculators are for. And all children, well, not all, but most children have phones nowadays. So if they have a question, they can just pull out their calculator. Well, I don't want my children to have to pull out a calculator to see what 7 times 8 is. Hence, I realized how important it is to do drilling, even if it is just for that. So the next thing that they have in their morning basket is their silent reading. And these are just some examples of the books that my children have read for their silent reading. And I usually will have them read 1 chapter a day, unless they are really short chapters. Then I will have them read maybe 2 or 3 chapters. And then when it comes to like the Tuttle Twins books, they're not really separated into chapters. So I'll just tell them how many pages I expect them to read. A lot of times they'll just read the Tuttle Twins books in one sitting. But that is what their silent reading is just, sitting there quietly, maybe covered up with a blanket, drinking hot chocolate, and just reading. And again, I don't care what time of the morning they do it, as long as they get it done by the time that we start. So the other thing that they do, and I haven't been considering it a part of their morning basket, although I realize that I really should consider it part of their morning basket because it is something that I usually encourage them to do in the morning, is for them to work on their notebooking loop. So we have a specific loop for our notebooking, which I have talked about in another video. And we have copywork, interest-led notebooking, journaling, and unit study notebooking. So if it is on one of the days where they are doing, and they don't do all of those in one day, that's what the loop is for. They kind of just go through the loop. So if it is on a day where they are doing copywork, which looks like this, it's just basically them copying things word for word, making sure that they use the proper punctuation. It's usually a Bible verse, but a lot of times I will also have them copying passages out of something that's relevant in their unit study. So if it's copy work, a lot of times I will just write the verse or whatever it is that they're copying on the whiteboard the night before, and then that way they can just get it done in the morning. Also journaling. It's a free writing journal. So the object of the free writing journal is I just want them to write. I'm not giving them a specific format to write. I'm not telling them what topic to write about. They can literally write about anything at all in their journal. So for example, here is my 15-year-old son's, and he loves creative writing. So he's constantly writing stories in his free writing journal. So on the journaling day for the notebooking loop, that is also obviously something that my children can do without my help. So that gets in there too. And then the other the other one in the notebooking loop that can actually be included in our morning basket is their interest-led notebook. Sometimes my younger children might need help with their interest-led notebook. Maybe, you know, just for ideas, or not sure maybe what it is that they should do next, because the interest-led notebooks are a little bit more complicated for the younger children, but the older kids tend to do them really well in their own time. So my 15-year-old has a geography notebook, and that he specifically chose that topic. For the interest-led notebooks, my children have full reign on them. They choose what it is that they're going to learn about. So he specifically chose geography because he wanted to learn about different countries, different places around the world. So right here, he has Brazil facts. He drew the Brazil flag and the Australian flag here, because here he wrote about Australia. He wrote 2 pages about Japan. He's a huge fan of Japan, especially with anime. He has Romania facts, also 2 pages about Romania. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but he has Switzerland here, Florida, Sweden. So you get the idea. But they can also work on their interest-led notebooks. And I do have videos that are more detailed about what my notebooks are like. So I will include the playlist for notebooking in the description box if you wanted to take a closer look at that, because I'm not really getting into how we do these things or even the purpose of them right now. But those are the 3 notebooks in our notebooking loop that they really can get done in our morning routine. The only one in our notebooking loop that they can't get done in our morning routine is the unit study notebook. And that's because on that day, they will be notebooking about something that we have learned about in our unit study. And our unit study is what we do during our family schooling after we start the structured learning at 12 o'clock. So that's the only one that they really can't do independently, because first we have to do our activities for the unit study before they can figure out what they're notebooking for that. So I mentioned earlier that for the spelling, they only do 3 times each, 4 times a week. And that is just because one day a week, and it is always on the day that I go grocery shopping, because grocery shopping is really hectic. You know, I've got 9, well now 10, because our 22-year-old son is staying with us for a while. I've got a lot of people to shop for, so grocery shopping takes a really long time. So a lot of times on our grocery shopping day, the only schoolwork that they will get done is what's in their morning routine. So on that day, I have chosen to have them do cursive instead of spelling or vocabulary. And the reason that I only have them doing it once a week is just because, to be honest, my children do not like it at all. They don't enjoy it. But I do think it's important that they know how to write in cursive or in script. I know that a lot of you don't like the term cursive, but know how to write in script. It's very important that they know how to read it, especially considering that the primary documents are written in script. So anyway, this is what we use for that. So this is my youngest workbook. And then I have this one. This one is really good for my high school students. It's Handwriting Practice Workbook for Teens, the Declaration of Independence, United States Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. Now, I will have to say a lot of it, like over half of it, is just practice in cursive. So I just told them to just skip that part and go to the part at the end where actually, and here they didn't actually do this one yet, but as you can see, this is where the passages are. And they are passages from the Constitution, from the Declaration of Independence, from the Bill of Rights. So I really do like this again for older children. And then for those children who are in the middle, they're just using one on classic children's literature, which I actually really like, because a lot of cursive workbooks don't include the printing next to it. So what was happening was my children were copying what was in the workbook, but then I would ask them what it said, and they would have no idea, because there was no model next to it in print form that was showing them what it is that they were writing in cursive. So when I found this one, I was really happy. And the fact that it does use classic children's literature. So for example, here they have a passage from Treasure Island, but it tells them what they're writing so that they can compare it because there's no point in teaching your child cursive if they don't know how to read it. So I'm not sure why so many other workbooks haven't thought of that, but that's just something that I came across in our homeschooling adventures. Anyway, that's all that I have for you today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one either here or over on Instagram. And if you like my work, you can check out my Patreon page. I will leave a link in the description box for that as well. And I hope you have a great day.